Have you ever been in a friendship where you were constantly worried about if they were angry at you, or they've been passive aggressive to you so many times without you knowing what you did? Perhaps it was your roommate that decided to just switch up on you and start giving you attitude for no known reason to you. Sometimes it feels like a friendship breakup, but then they come back again as if they didn't do anything wrong. And some other times the friendship does die, leaving you in the dark about why they cut you off or stopped talking to you in the first place. And I know what it feels like to have a friend just switch up on you without you knowing why. I do know what it feels like to be forced to remove yourself from friendships and friend groups where you're always feeling left out and ignored. Now, today's episode helps you know how to communicate better in your friendships. So listen to the very end to know how to stop losing friends and also how to stop cutting people off and leaving them in the dark in your friendships. Welcome to Healthy Minds Talk, a podcast created to help you grow, bring awareness to mental health, and also remind you that it's not all in your head. There's hope even when your brain tells you there isn't. I'm Praise Victor, and I remain your host on this show. When I started this episode and I was talking about friends, I didn't exactly mean Facebook friends or, people that follow you on Instagram or acquaintances you barely know anything about. I'm talking about friends that you've shared different experiences with, friends you've been through some tough times together, friends that come to you with their emotional baggage. Let's just take a step back and talk about what makes someone a friend. Now, a friend is basically someone you're close to, a person you feel comfortable to talk to and be vulnerable with, someone you can depend on for help and also share pleasant experiences and activities together. A friend is not someone who always comes to you with their emotional baggage, but you don't feel welcome talking about yours with them. A friend is not someone who only comes to you when they need something but ignores you every other day. A friend is certainly not someone who has you questioning your self-worth and depreciates your self-esteem. Now, you're in a healthy friendship when, number one, respect and trust is present. Number two, there's a healthy cycle of give and take, meaning you're not just the only one giving your time and resources to this other person without them offering theirs at all. It means that you're not the only one investing in the friendship. Another way you can know if you're in a healthy friendship is when you feel physically and emotionally safe around this person, when they encourage you and help build up your self-esteem, when you can be yourself and show up authentically without fearing judgment, rejection, or criticism. And I do know that it's possible to have different kinds of friends. You can have friends in different settings, like friends in school, at church, at work, or in your community. It's okay to have friends from different spheres of life, but the common factor in all friendships is this. Friendships, just like any other relationship, is a two-way street. It involves you and another person. Reciprocity is needed. Vulnerability is needed. Communication is very important. So how can you communicate well with your friend without expecting them to read your mind? And the thing is, we only usually emphasize this in relationships and not friendships. How can you talk to your friend calmly even after they've triggered you? How can you resolve conflicts or have disagreements peacefully and still remain as friends? Just like I said before, that friendships, similar to other relationships, involve you and another person. Your communication style will most likely be different from that of your friends. They might be used to silent treatment, passive aggressiveness, or assuming things and jumping to conclusions. Who knows? This might even be what you're used to. But then, healthy communication in friendships require, number one, active listening. Now, active listening is very important because it helps you hear what the other person is saying and not what you think they are saying. Because sometimes when we're triggered, we're impatient to listen to what the other person is saying. So we're always quick to jump into conclusions about their point of view. And then we end up saying things like, oh, so now I'm inconsiderate for trying to do whatever it is that caused the issue between you two in the first place. And to listen actively, you need to be calm and present. Take away physical and mental distractions. Don't scroll on your phone while having a serious conversation with your friend because your attention is needed for communication. Don't think about a time someone else did a similar thing, whatever issue you're trying to resolve, and now you're back in the past. Like, do not replay unpleasant experiences in your head. Just leave whatever's going on inside your head and listen to the other person. Now, while listening, don't interrupt. And even while listening, don't be too focused or worried about what you're supposed to say in response. You can nod your head to signify that you're present with them and that you're trying to understand their point of view. Now, after listening to what they've said, you can now ask specific questions or paraphrase what they said to just clarify the message that was, dropped or communicated. And this is really helpful, not just even in friendships, but in other kinds of relationships as well. Now, you can also communicate in a very healthy way in your friendships by showing empathy. Now, empathy is basically just being able to acknowledge other people's emotions and understand their point of view on certain situations. It's you not making an insensitive joke and then being like, relax, I was just joking, you don't have to get so worked up about it, or telling them that you're overreacting, just chill out, that kind of thing. Empathy involves validating your friend's emotions and experience. It's you saying something like, I see this is frustrating for you, let's talk about it. I'd like to share my perspective too. It requires not just acknowledging their emotions and experience, but also taking accountability for the part you played and agreeing to work on resolving the issue. Now, another thing you can do to communicate healthily in your friendships is to be conscious of your tone and not just the message while communicating. Sometimes it's not what we say, it's how we say it. Your tone of voice is just as important as the message you're passing across. No matter how hurt or triggered you are, try not to speak in an offensive way, because most times when we let anger take control, we say things that we don't mean in a rash manner, and then we end up regretting it and replaying it in our heads over and over again. And so communication isn't all about what you say, but also how you say it as well. And so yelling, giving cold snide remarks, or sounding uninterested in your friend's point of view or conversations will not help the friendship. You should also normalize taking breaks. It's okay to unplug and take breaks when you feel overwhelmed with the way things are going in your friendship. If you're feeling drained or angry because of something your friend did or said, it's okay to take a break and come back after you've processed your emotions to talk to your friend about it. Just like Very Well Mind said, sometimes good communication means knowing when to take a break. Another thing you can do is to be authentic. Be authentic in communicating how you really feel. And the truth is, sometimes I'm guilty of this too. Sometimes we lie in our friendships, or we over-explain to minimize the situation or to control our friend's response in a favorable way. But the truth is, You don't need to over-explain because you're not responsible for your friend's emotions or response. You need to be honest about how you really feel and why you feel that way. As I always say for relationships, that your partner is not a mind reader. Well, it goes the same way for friendships too. Your friend or your friends are not mind readers. Now, when you're honest, you keep your explanations short. You don't need to over-explain. You keep them objective and straight to the point. Your friend will be able to respond well, and the truth is, you'll even feel more confident in your communication skills. And I know that this episode is titled The Secret to Long-Lasting Friendships. And really, for me, I think it's communication and comprehension. Your ability not just to explain your point of view on different things, but also your ability to understand and accommodate your friend's point of views too. And I'll end with the words of licensed therapist Divya Robbins. She said, and I quote, "Healthy communication is a skill, and like any skill, it needs to be taught and continued through practice. You may not have practiced the skills if you grew up not witnessing healthy communication. Your adult self may have to unlearn unhelpful patterns and replace them with helpful ones." And I hope that's what today's episode did for you. I hope today's episode helped you unlearn unhelpful communication patterns in your friendships, where you don't just feel like it's okay to switch up on people and cut them off when they're clueless about what exactly triggered you. And while it's actually okay to leave friendships that have you second guessing yourself, some friendships are worth fighting for actually. It all depends on what your values are, and if those friends align with your values, then yes, for sure, the friendship is definitely worth saving. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please do not hesitate to share it with your friends, your family, co-workers, brothers, sisters, I don't know, whoever else you think needs this episode. And you might even share it with your partner, who knows? And you can also share a screenshot of it, you listening to it on Instagram, and tag me. I'd love to give you a shout out in next week's episode. And don't forget to follow this podcast on the podcasting platform you're using. Also, follow me on IG, of course. The link is in the description. Have a healthy mind till we talk again next Monday.